The one, the only, Ann Coulter, the author of the new book, Mugged. Ann?
Hello, Glenn.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say about last night.
Were you referring to it as Joe Biden in the Villages?
Well, he might have had a slight drinking issue going on. Stu thinks he might have been high.
High during the debate. He was only drunk during the Villages video.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing. It was quite an amazing evening last night. I've heard they were trying to appeal to women. I don't know a single woman that was like, you know what? I just want to vote for just an old jerk.
Yeah, I don't think the appealing to women strategy worked. It was very strange, Biden's behavior, but wow, that's what liberals have been pushing for. I mean, that laughing at everything and serious issues. It was, and I was wondering, I checked online, have they done the amount of time each candidate spoke yet?
Yeah, it was only about a minute different, but...
Really?
They were
a minute and 15 seconds or something.
And it was higher for Biden, but the problem the problem was when he was being interrupted, both clocks were running. So
I see, because that's what was very striking. That I don't think Romney would allow himself to be interrupted that much.
I think personally, Ann, that if Paul Ryan would have stopped and said gently and kindly, about halfway through, Mr. Vice President, I don't know what is going on with you and the laughing and the smiling. It's creepy in a way, but it's definitely beneath you and this conversation. And I would appreciate it. I'm not interrupting you. Please let me talk. I think if he would have kindly and gently said that, I think that would have backfired even more on Joe Biden.
I think that's right. I mean, Ryan was too polite, and I would like to remind everyone here that many people were pushing for Ryan as the presidential candidate, just to reiterate that right-wingers should always hang on my every word and support the candidate I support, because Romney would not have let him get away with that. But in a way, I mean, Ryan had good answers, but he was interrupted way too much and way too polite. In a way, it doesn't matter what Ryan did. Biden was such a cackling old fool and really so rude. I completely agree with you on the woman's reaction to that. I mean, it just reminds you of the most jackass males you've ever known or dated or had a conversation with, the sneering and laughing through everything utterly inappropriately, utterly dismissive of everything Ryan was saying, as Biden was saying a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, that business about, no, we were not warned. We were absolutely not warned that the consul in Benghazi needed more security. We've just had hearings this week. I mean, maybe people on MSNBC are unaware of these hearings and watching MSNBC, but we've just had hearings with State Department officials saying, yes, we were warned. So Biden is just saying, I don't know what's going on.
It was really bizarre, too, that the fact that he said we didn't have intelligence. We had no idea. The intelligence told us it was this YouTube video, and they were wrong, and we do what intelligence says, but they were so wrong on that. And then to come back and say, look, we have good intelligence on Iran. We're going to know if they have a bomb.
Right. And laughing as Ryan was talking about the danger of Iran getting a nuclear weapon. Biden was laughing. It was really peculiar. And it's interesting that liberals seem to think that this was fantastic, and as they say, okay, it's gotten Obama back on track, and maybe they had planned to say this no matter what the debate performance was. Maybe they realized it was an error to speak honestly after the first Romney-Obama debate, and they had just set their minds, no matter what happens, we are going to say that the Democrat is winning the next three debates, the vice presidential debate, and I suspect he'll do the same thing with the presidential debate. We are not going to speak honestly. But if this is what they considered a good debate performance, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of some of the conservatives supporting Newt Gingrich during the primary debates. They just wanted someone to yell at the president and to call him a Kenyan colonialist. And okay, that may gin up, that may get your juices flowing, but we have to win the election.
Right. I think that was their plan last night. I really think that was their plan last night. But I will tell you this, and you're a God-fearing woman. Let me just give you a perspective here that I haven't heard anybody say. I've been praying for the last few weeks that the American people will just see both sides and all four guys for who they truly are. And I think we saw who Mitt Romney truly was. I think we saw who Obama truly is. I think we saw the real Paul Ryan and the real Joe Biden. So I think there's some divine providence. And I tweeted this morning. God sent his tweet out a little while ago, and it's in Proverbs. Listen to this.
When a wise person debates with a fool, the fool rages and laughs, and there is no peace and quiet.
Wow.
I mean, is that amazing? That's exactly what happened last night.
Wow. Though I'm kind of mad at you guys since you told me you were fasting. I gave up pork and bacon.
Did you really?
Also, I'm in a book tour, and that's worse than a fast.
Holy cow. How do you live without pork and bacon?
Well, that's why I didn't go whole hog like you guys did.
Actually, you did go whole hog. But
not if she'll do ham. Oh, no, that's pork.
Yeah.
So
well, no, not technically.
Technically.
It's called ham.
It's called ham. Nobody calls it pork.
Also, those are my favorite foods.
You're one step closer to becoming Jewish. So,
no, at the victory party we're having pork rinds.
What do you think is coming next, Ann? I mean, I know your book is all about how, and you've said it on this program, you really thought, and I did too, that they were going to start coming at us with just nasty, racist kind of stuff.
Yes, I think we've gotten a little of it, but I think the mere existence of the book and my quick availability for TV and radio has lessened the amount they're going to be able to get into that. I mean, since the day before my book came out was when Chris Matthews was launching the word apartment as racist, and we did get that.
Wait,
what?
Yeah.
Help me out on that one. I mean, let's pretend I don't understand how the word apartment is racist.
Because black people live in apartments. That was.
I lived in an apartment too.
The richest people I know live in apartments. They're mostly in New York City. No, it's madness. But we were getting them at a pace of about, at least one a week, maybe once a day, whenever Romney would speak. And I don't think we've heard much more from Chris Matthews on this or that word being racist. I was thinking of the week before my book came out, Al Sharpton was describing the integration of Ole Miss by James Meredith, who, by the way, was a Republican when he did so. He was being blocked from going to Ole Miss by a Democrat governor, supported by Jimmy Carter, endorsed by Jimmy Carter, by the way, a segregationist. And James Meredith remained a Republican his entire life. He worked for Jesse Helms. Yet the way Al Sharpton, I'm like a host on MSNBC, Al Sharpton told the story. It was as if it was the Republicans versus the Democrats, as usual, reversing the parties, and said, and we're fighting the same forces today on things like, women's reproductive choice and illegal immigration. It was a perfect description of the way I say liberals have quickly moved on from civil rights to attach to other causes. And so I was going to use that in the column, and then a few days after my book came out, when it was fairly well known that Al Sharpton has many cameo appearances in my book. It was strange. He did the same story for no particular reason about the Little Rock high schools. And this time he said who the Republicans and the Democrats actually were. And of course it was Dwight Eisenhower sending the 101st Airborne to integrate Little Rock High School, which was being blocked by Orville Faubus, Democrat and friend of Bill Clinton's. And he ended his little segment by saying, so we really can't say it's one party. It's just
wow.
It's all sides. So I think they're a little nervous about doing what their favorite campaign is when they have no arguments.
I think people have had enough of it, and that's why I think what Paul Ryan did last night, and I don't think I think he could do better than he did. I think he let a few things slide, and he should have corrected and said, "Excuse me, please, let us have a civil dialogue and let us speak." But I think the idea of just playing the high ground here, being firm, being clear, but playing the high ground and not engaging in that, I think that's what's going to win. The latest polls in Florida, Romney is up 51-44. Where do you think Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Colorado are going to end up?
Well, I think enough of them are going to end up in Romney's camp. I feel pretty confident that he's going to win, and I've thought that all along. It's just the country is in too much trouble right now, and there's nothing weird or frightening about Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan. They're decent people. Obviously, Romney is massively competent. I think even Democrats are going to think we tried this. One of my favorite ads from the Romney campaign is that one. He tried, you tried, but it didn't work. It's okay not to vote to reelect him, something to that effect. And I think that's the way a lot of people are going to feel.
I'm on my way to Phoenix, Arizona for a free pack event to try to get the grassroots out and pumped to go out to vote. This weekend I'm in Phoenix. Next weekend I'm in Florida. But Phoenix was selected by Free Pack because there's some things like Jeff Flake is strangely doing not so well. What is he down like
close.
2 points? It's close.
Yeah.
But he should. I mean,
he should be.
Jeff
winning
Flake
by a million points.
is great. He should be running away with this.
Well, Arizona's a great state, but because of the immigration policy put into effect by Teddy Kennedy in 1965, I mean, that was a specific plan to gradually change the country. And even in Arizona, 70% of Hispanics are voting for Obama. When you have a large portion of Hispanics, that's going to make, I mean, the rest of the country could go the way of California, a state that once elected Richard Nixon statewide and Ronald Reagan statewide, and now we can't even get Carly Fiorina or Meg Whitman are elected statewide in California, which is one of the reasons I supported Romney on the substance, on the issues, from the beginning. He was the only one who wasn't just utterly sucking up to the amnesty lobby.
So you've really been one of the only people that have been on the Romney bandwagon from the very beginning. Did you get an office in the White House?
I ran off with that biker Chris Christie for a while.
What'd you say?
I ran off with that biker Chris Christie for a while. I feel like that was a
cheap and tawdry. Cheap and tawdry. All right.
I love him. I'll come back to him in 8 years after 8 years of the Romney-Ryan administration. Then we can run the biker.
And Coulter, the new book is out. It's called Mugged, and we'll talk to you next week. 1 week closer to the election and the day after the debate next week. Thanks,
Great.
Ann.
Talk to you next week.
You bet. Bye-bye.